Damn, I love the music. Alright. Hello. Pull up Discord.
You have that money
And
going.
Discord is unmuted. You folks are live. Looks like we got quite a few people over in Discord this morning. Everybody wants to say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And Angela can't talk right now. She's getting updates.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Alright. So before we get started, a couple of reminders. We do try to keep Open Pagan Church relatively family friendly-ish for the most part. Looks like we've got Amy with us this morning. Amy is an old friend, known many years. I knew Amy back in the very beginning of House of Pegasus. Damn. Looks like we got quite a group. Dave says, I'm family friendly. Right, Dave. You go right ahead. Over in Live with the Shaman, though, is where we'll be going after this broadcast at 11 a.m. Central Time. Not so family friendly. That's an adult channel. Also, too, a bit of a reminder up in the description area on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, we do have the title, a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. There's also a link to a non-expiring Discord apps invitation. If you want to talk and be heard, we absolutely want to hear from you. And below that is the music by. I always like to put a little in there, a little thank you to the artists that give us our morning music. Right. So before everybody jumps up and down and wants to beat me with a 2x4 over the topic for the day, if you can't see it, it's up the top there. Morality. What is it? One of the things we're going to be talking about is, what is it? Where did it come from? Why do we need it? Do we need it? Who makes it moral or not? I can tell you, pagans tend to have a different moral compass than most other religious philosophies in the world. I find it interesting that Western pagans have a different moral compass than some of the Eastern and even some of the Oriental countries. So with this in mind, I want to start with maybe some of my philosophies on it, and then I'll open the floor to you guys and let y'all kind of hash it out. I do remind you that your philosophies and your ideas and your thoughts are yours. We don't have to agree with you. Open Pagan Church is open for a reason. We like your ideas and your thoughts and what you think. I'm not wrong. You're not wrong. We're just making it. So what is morality? Well, yeah, I see posted in chat where morals are rules. Well, yeah, they are. Morality is a fundamental way of imposing certain religious sects' ideas on the public and the masses. Where did it come from? You know, I really don't know where the word morality come from, if somebody wants to look it up. I know it's been around in one form or another in every religious text I've ever studied. And unfortunately, that's a lot. Why do we need it? Well, personally, I think we need morality. I know that I have my own moral code. I know that everybody I've ever met through the years has their own moral code. And I think we need morality. I think every human being needs a personal moral code. Who makes it moral or not? Well, first off, um, first off, believe it or not, the churches that run the country in which you live make the base moral code. And the interesting part is, I have seen a boatload of pagans come in to the pagan philosophy. Now, understand, I'm not talking about Wicca, shaman, witchcraft, fae. I'm talking about pagan, the core, the polytheistic belief system that makes us pagan. I have seen a boatload of Christians come over and try to bring their Christian morals into the pagan philosophy. I have also seen that not work 99.9% of the time. Right, so with that in mind, let's read a little bit of what people have been posting over here. Ashley, hi. Name is Ashley from England, UK. I've got family over in Galashiel, Scotland. Ashley, welcome. Um, yeah, y'all are 6 hours ahead of us. It's still relatively early where you're at. Dave says morals are rules. Ashley says morals is doing the right thing. Well, yep, I agree, but what is the right thing? Is what's right for me right for you? Is what's right for you right for others? There's a question you have to answer yourself, I guess, huh? Well, Amy says, I thought that was ethics. Well, ethics ethics have been construed or misconstrued, if you will, from time to time for morals and vice versa. Um, I know that the Open Pagan Church, we have a code of ethics that we follow. Um, I tried to keep the term morality, if you will, out of anything that Open Pagan Church does, because morals, um, I don't want anybody imposing their moral ideologies upon me, much less I don't do that to anyone else. Uh, rules connected to, wow, I hadn't seen chat blow up like this in a while. Cindy looked up the definition of moral. A moral is a lesson of a story. If moral is used as an adjective, it means good or ethical. Yeah, so there you go. Ethics and morals do run real close hand in hand. If you have a strong moral character, you're a good member of society. Which society? If you're a good member of society, if someone is a cheat or a liar, you might say they are not a moral person. Well, first off, I have never met a human in my life that doesn't lie at some point, that hasn't cheated at some point. Morality, morals, minor character, proper behavior. We all know I'm up for proper behavior. Not. Okay, so let's kind of open the floor up. 2, 4, 6. Looks like we've got about 7 people over in Discord. Discord, what say you? One at a time, please.
Well, morals to me is, if the Celtic Psalm, we have morals. Truth, honesty, all of the ethics. And morals is the standard of living to us. So it's what we go by, our morals, everyday life.
Okay, anyone else?
Wonder how many people over time have been tortured and murdered because they didn't, um, you know, measure up to these morals that are like created. You know, I mean, but it's people's morals. I don't think people, if you don't like somebody's morals, you just don't have anything to do with them, and don't punish them.
Well, the simple answer to that question is take a look at some of the Middle Eastern countries that still stone people because they don't meet up to their morals. There are still areas in the United States that perform hate crimes on a daily basis. In fact, they're trying to make hate crimes a federal offense. Anytime you hear the term hate crime, it's where somebody has committed a crime against someone else because that particular individual did not meet up to that particular person's moral standard. So it happens every day, sadly, very sadly.
Yeah, like you said, the morals from one person is not the same as for another person. So, there's no set standard, as they say, to morality or to morals or ethics because each person has their own point of view.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, every one of us, myself included, one of the things I try real hard not to do here is impose my moral compass or my moral philosophies on other people. Now, um, realistically speaking, the only thing we demand in this channel, in any channel that we're on, and there's a bunch, is respect. You know, respect others for their opinions and ideologies and thoughts and philosophies. Um, we've had our fair share of trolls hit. We've had our fair share of trolls hit Open Pagan Church and Live with a Shaman, and other areas that we broadcast on. Looks like Angela is trying to chat, but she's getting intermittent audio. Bless her heart.
Oh yeah, just as a reminder, make sure to mute Facebook when you have Discord open.
Lucy, I had a whole lot of feedback, hon. I'm sorry I didn't hear you.
I said make sure to mute Facebook if you're on Discord.
Oh yeah, if you're on Discord, absolutely mute Facebook. You'll get a hell of a lot of feedback.
She's trying to work it out on her computer. She has a Mac.
Oh, bless her heart, she needs a Linux. If she doesn't like Windows, don't pay the cost for a Mac.
I'm going to keep up real quick. I don't want to talk over anybody, but Mac and Linux are pretty much the same thing. The wrapper is just different.
Uh-huh. And Linux is free.
So is Mac.
No, Mac is anything but free.
No, the software is completely free now. I can actually get Mac software and put it on whatever Intel computer I want. It just takes some doing.
Uh-huh. Well.
Hey, agree to disagree. Back to subject.
What subject? What were we talking about? I digress. Oh, morality.
Marie, just jump in there.
I don't think that Mac is as moral as
Linux. Go, Dave. Yeah, back on topic. Looks like Lee was saying there may not be a common moral standard, but it doesn't mean that people don't know how to be kind and what I call good people. Absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that. You know, you can be a good person and have your own moral standard. You have your own moral compass, if you will. Um, as long as you're, like the man says, as long as you're good people, be be nice to other people. Um, my bosses, of course, our calls are recorded at work, and periodically our bosses listen to our calls, and I'm fine with that. I don't care. And every once in a while, they'll send me an email going, "How do you handle some of these people?" In the medical industry has some of the rudest people you'll ever meet. And I'm like, I just don't take it personal. I mean, you think about it, and this is something that we can use in our day-to-day life as well when it comes to the morality thing. I look at what people are going through, like when people approach me and they need help either on their computers, their network, server, whatever, or even life, and being a pagan minister, I look at what people are going through when they come to me for help. Most of them are lit up, they're tense, they're angry, they're hurt, they're excited. Everything in their whole world has turned upside down. Morning, Cody. But the thing of it is, when it comes to morality, you just got to be nice to people. You get these trolls that run around on the internet. I have found most of the time when it comes to trolls, if I'm just nice to them and say, "Look, you're not hurting anyone here but yourself," and one of my admins will just ban you. I don't care. So don't take it personal when you meet people that have a very odd or off moral compass, if you will. I just don't take it personal. How many of us, let's see, how do I ask this question? How many of us have actually ever dealt with truly immoral individuals?
Well, that goes to what degree you think moral is. You know what I mean? You have these Ted Bundys of the world. So where does it stop? You know what I mean? Have they reached the morality level yet? Who sets the ceiling?
Well, Dave, I think I sort of kind of heard what you were trying to say. You were fading out pretty bad. Lucy, were you going to say something?
Yeah, sorry, I had to put my Cheeto down. Yeah, he pretty much said what I was going to say. Like, that's kind of a tricky question because it depends on your set of morals or everyone's different set of morals, because everyone was raised differently, everyone has had different life experiences. Now, I mean, that's a really hard question to answer because you can't answer for everybody because you don't know what they've gone through. Oh, sorry, my finger moved. It's a really hard question to answer because you don't know what people have gone through.
But I don't think it's moral for Islam or Sharia law to that people get to decide that they take what what Allah created. So they make it their point that they speak for Allah and they can destroy what Allah made, and that's okay because that's what Allah wants. They're crazy.
Well, we could absolutely get way off on another tangent when we start talking about radicalism. Now, that's one of the things I was actually going to touch on during our broadcast today is radicalism. Lee says, I have a couple of times. Human trafficking. Yeah, I have a major problem with human trafficking. But we have to remember, as the space, the world's not getting smaller. I realize that's a kind of analogy that some people like to use, but the world is not changing in size. The world is not getting smaller, but people are getting bigger. Population is growing at a rate in which the planet is really having trouble supporting. Now, I don't even want to go down that road, don't even want to get flipped off on that topic. But what I do want to do is change the damn page. Ah, much better. Alright. Damn flickering on my light monitor was driving me nuts. We tend to fall into whatever moral compass, like was said earlier, what we're raised with. And Cody, I'll have to talk with you personally offline, Bubba. But the thing that you get into when it comes to morality, if you will, what you were raised with, the environmental programming that was done to you, for you, and against you while you were growing up. Even as adults, most especially as adults, we have to think about the moral society in which we live. No, I don't agree with some other religious sect's way of doing things. But that goes for not just one or two or a couple of particular particular religious sects. And the last thing I want to get into is calling out other religions. I don't agree with terrorism. I don't agree with stoning people because they're different. I don't agree with hooking people up to a firing squad because they live different than others. I absolutely don't agree with human trafficking, especially sex trafficking of kids. That's just wrong on so many levels. Angela says we tend to be, I'll put my damn glasses on so I can see. We tend to be social creatures and do integrate into society. I think you're saying as we group together with like-minded moral ideas. Yes, absolutely. Pagan groups, for example, you'll notice like plays to like. I know the HOP, when we were down south in our circles, we'd have anywhere from 20 to 70 to 100 people standing in circle, and every one of us had a little bit of a different moral compass. One of the reasons we got along so well is the leaders of the group, the leaders of the circle, were not formed on a philosophy of my way or the highway. In my opinion, and everybody knows what they say about opinions, but in my opinion, as an open church loosely means gathering of like-minded individuals. Open means open arms. Pagan, well, we're pagan, most of us. Non-pagans are welcome. We've had atheists and Catholic and Christian and all that. But let's take a minute to reflect. At the time of this video, I'm 57. And I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I have done things in my younger years that were way outside moral compasses. Either from a mistake, either because of things had to be done, or because, well, it had to be. And I'm not going to get into that on open air. Jobs I've done, contracts I've done, things that I had to do when I was younger. Your moral compass really doesn't play into that. At my present job that I have now, my moral compass guides me on a daily basis. It keeps me from telling people on a daily basis to go screw themselves. My moral compass on a daily basis keeps me from asking people where they got their education out of a Cracker Jack box. I'm one of the most opinionated people I know.
I agree on that one.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You wouldn't be Don if you didn't have your morals and your opinions.
I think that was a compliment, even left-handed.
Ah, you know me.
I do.
But the morals that everybody's talking about is like a standard living. But question, where do we get morality?
Been waiting on that one. Well, we've already said it. Our morals comes from life experiences, comes from training from our own societies, the societies in which we live, raise kids with their own moralities and their own philosophies and ideas.
Or it comes from Jesus or Muhammad or or whatever. It's their opinion. I think morals are people's opinions, and then they push them on other people.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I mean, Lee says, I think moral compass serves as a guide to most of us. We've all done things that we'd not advise others to do. Yeah, true that. But our morals, they come from the society in which we live. They come from our families, friends, peer pressure. Peer pressure is a big manipulator of moral philosophy. We take a look at teenagers and hell, teenagers growing up in my time in the 70s and the 80s. Of course, most of the shit we got into wasn't near what teenagers today get up to, but peer pressure can push a person's moral compass to the breaking point. And we take a look at if we bring in different philosophies and lifestyles, right? Gay or straight, monogamy or monogamous people versus polyamory, right? Swingers, those that people that are into BDSM, right? If we take a look at all of the different thousands of lifestyles, the hundreds of thousands of religions, philosophies, and thoughts, Jamie says religion cultures, yes. A big part of our morals come from, like we said earlier, ancient, way back religious cultures. Well, at the time of this video in 2019, religion, for the most part, religion doesn't have quite the moral effect on individuals as it did 50 to 75 years ago. But then again, with the advent of the internet, live streaming, conversation, the sharing of ideas and thoughts and philosophies and lifestyles. I mean, we can take a look at the millions of web pages and social networks, if you will, and the blending of all of the different moral philosophies. I see somehow I managed to end up with almost 500 friends on my Facebook. Not real sure how the hell I did that, but there is a constant rolling feed of moral philosophies, moral theologies, moral idealisms, slamming of other people's moralities that roll across on a daily basis. Every once in a while, one will catch me wrong, and like an idiot, I'll reply to it. Well, here we go. Now we have this debate of what's right and what's wrong, moral philosophies. My morality is more important than yours. My morality is more important than yours. And eventually at some point, somebody's got to sit back and go, whoa, hang on here, guys. We have to, like said earlier, agree to disagree. Agree that it's okay to be different. Angela says, let's see, purpose of morality has changed as we've moved away from small religious groups to a global mindset. Yes, absolutely. And, you know, kind of where we were going is the earth, like I say, hasn't shrunk, but the population has exploded. And with the advent of the internet, we can see in a matter of seconds what happens in Japan, what happens in Korea, what happens in the UK, other side of America. You know, in a matter of seconds, people with these devices right here, right, are live streaming at the drop of a hat. You have live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on a multitude of different platforms. And so we're not waiting on our nightly news to give us non-objective opinions, because, well, we all know news is going to sensationalize whatever's going on. I'm not a big fan of the whole fake news bullshit. I tend to, know that news outlets are going to sensationalize so that they can build ratings. Sensationalism doesn't necessarily mean fake news. It just simply means that. Angela says not to confuse morality with righteousness. Yeah, well, true that. Says purpose of morality. Well, wait, I already read that. What the hell? Why am I reading it again? Yes, Jamie, it is personal to a large extent. In reality, folks, morality is personal to, in my opinion, morality is personal to 100% of the extent. Morality, honor, right? The definition of honor is going to be lived differently by me as it would be someone else. To use an example, Jamie and I have been friends for many years. We have spent boatloads of hours on the phone debating philosophy, ideology, pagan theology, morality. And when you're debating things with an old friend, it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about, well, I think this. Well, I think that. I can see that. But what about this? And they might say, I get that. But what about this? And before you know it, you may actually be saying the same thing. Now, this has always fascinated me when I've done counseling, especially if I've done marital counseling, when people have brought to me possibilities of getting a divorce because of bad moral compass. I've had that more than once. Somebody will bring to me, a couple will bring to me, both gay and straight, right? I've had people bring marital issues to me with, I want a divorce because of bad moral compass.
That's like, well, I'm bringing up Jeff for some reason. He had morals of a prison term life. So we had to teach him the morals of outside that in society.
Yeah. And people that have been in prison, they have a completely different honor structure and moral structure than people on the outside do. And I absolutely don't want to start bringing up names. But, I mean, your ex and I had many conversations when he first started coming around about different moralities and philosophies and ideas. And there were a number of things that I was a bit taken aback on, but at the same time, I'm like, I can understand why that is the way it is, where it came from, right? But my question to people, and this is kind of a question maybe you need to ask yourself, when you're in a relationship, in any relationship, whether it's friendship, lovers, acquaintances, best friends, brother and sister, brother, sister, blah, 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 whatever. If you're in a relationship and let's say you're lovers or mates, whatever, and you suddenly find yourself having problems with their moral compass, the question I always ask, and 90% of the time the answer to this question was yes. But the question I always asked was, did you know this about this person before you got together? Now I'll say that again. They start screaming about this person's morality, their moral compass, whatever. And I say, did you know this about this person before you got together? 90% of the time the answer is yes. That's like marrying a police officer and then expecting them to stop being a police officer. That's like marrying someone and saying, oh, I'll change them. I see them for what they could be. No. If you get with someone, you don't get with them to fix them, because they're not broke. Like Jamie said, you can't change another person. But if you get with someone knowing that their moral compass might throw you off a bit, you have to make the decision. If I'm getting with this person and wanting to be with them from now on, and I want to dedicate to this person for however long, year and a day, lifetime, whatever, we can't, go into a relationship going, oh, well, I'll just mold you and change you into something I want. No. And yes, growth is different than change. Thank you, Jamie. Lee says, absolutely. I don't see. I didn't see it at the time, though. I only saw the good. Yes, I have gotten into relationships like that. Damn, Angela likes to write. She says, in a very personal example. She says, I did not know the full extent of the other person's beliefs. Then there was a moral dilemma. Do I expect them to return to the pretending? Or do I accept the truth and adjust my perception? Yes.
So is not settling for less than what we deserve if we know who we are, not settling for less than what we deserve, would that be considered immoral? I mean, how could you say what is immoral? What is immoral? Who decides who's moral? But is that immoral? You're not going to decide, you're not going to accept less than what you deserve as a human being, as who you are. Is that immoral?
Well, let me comment on Angela's statement, and then I'll comment on yours, Dave. Yes, absolutely. But Angela does make a good point. If you find out after you've gotten with someone that they have moral philosophies that they hid from you or kept from you, you have to make that decision. You have to decide, okay, well, the right and wrong, the morals, the philosophies, and the ideologies of the mate that I'm with at the time, I have learned make me uncomfortable. Been there, done that. And I had to make a decision that the way this person was, and the way this person treated others, manipulated them, and what have you, I found that I didn't like that. I had to get away from it. So yeah, you have to make that decision, and we grow. It's like Jamie said, growth is different from change. Each of us grow. I'm not, me personally, here at 2019, I'm not the same person I was in 2000. I'm still Don, I'm still me, I'm still Pegasus, I'm still the teacher, but I'm also a student. But my thought processes has changed. Things that I may have felt really strongly about in 2000, I could care less about here in 2019. It's just, they don't bother me. And things that really didn't bother me in 2000 and 2019, they drive me crazy. So you have to make those decisions about your mate. I do mine yearly. Sometimes every 6 or 8 months I sit down and just roll in my head the different things that are going on, and I make the decision, okay, I'm all good. Or okay, there's things we need to talk about. And Dave brings up a good point. Are we in question for our moral compass if we don't accept others? Well, that's kind of a flowing question, so hang in there. Jamie says, who says what you deserve? Well, when it comes to me personally, I say what I deserve. The gods, my counsel, my spirit guides, my gods and goddesses that I walk with determine my karma and determine what I deserve on one level and don't. But and see, here's the paradox. and this is kind of something else I want to get into. The paradox of morality. We're um, we're about 45 minutes into the program, so let's think about this. And I know we could go on for hours with this topic. The paradox of morality comes into the paradox of karma, the paradox of right and wrong. As pagans, we say we don't judge others, but we do. Human beings judging others, judging ourselves, judging others' philosophies and ideas and moralities, honor, and what have you. It is something humans do on a daily basis. And like I say, this topic we could go on for hours about, but at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, we could come to an agreement that I think all of us watching, listening today, and perhaps those of you that watch our pre-recorded broadcast later, I think at the end of the day, we just want to be treated with respect. So, should we not treat others with the same respect that we request? Maybe a rhetorical question. When I try not to judge others, right? Sometimes it's hard. It really is. When I try to, when others post things that I disagree on, I'm okay to disagree with you. By me saying I disagree, this is what I think, and I've heard your opinion, you've heard mine. If there's further need for discussion, we can discuss it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to learn something from you. I hope you're going to learn something from me. And I hope those of you that watch our broadcast will learn something from the individuals that are here every Sunday. And we hope to see you here. We'd love to see your point of view. We'd love to hear you on Discord. Now, of course, the more people we get on Discord, the harder it's going to be to keep people from stepping on each other. Because when it comes to spiritual philosophy discussions, people do get a little irate. Jamie.
Yes.
As Jamie says, I wish this is how our officials would learn that too. Oh boy.
So what's the moral of the broadcast?
That would be up to you, sir. The moral of the broadcast is up to each of you that listen. My moral of the broadcast would be I got to learn from others what their thoughts on morality is, and others got to hear from me on my thoughts of morality, such as it is. But when we think about it, is there really a right and wrong in morality? That's a rhetorical question, because only you can answer that for yourself. Only I can answer that for myself. And I think, Lisa, is my moral, I've learned and grow. Yes.
I think morality is like time. We have to have time as human beings, but there is no time. There are only things happen.
Yes.
Only things happen. So only things happen. Whether you want to say it's moral or not is up to the individual, but it's not really moral. It's just something that happens.
Right. So we learn. I know that I like to be treated with respect, and I absolutely like to treat others with respect. So, in closing, I absolutely want to thank everyone for being here today. It was a good conversation, and like I always say, I'm always looking for topics, man. I run out of things to talk about, if you can believe that. We will be getting ready for 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time, live with the Shaman. You're welcome to join if you wish. Learn, teach, grow. That's what it's all about. Thank you very much for watching Live with the Shaman. Live with the Shaman. Shit. Thank you very much for watching Open Pagan Church. I'll remember which damn channel I'm on here in a minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time right here.